And I did want to ask you actually, you've done a lot of work this season, right? You've had how many students in the last several months?
So it's about 25 people
Right.
that I've seen this year.
25 better divers, we hope then.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But what was interesting to me is, because we've chatted out throughout that process, is some of them have come with already a high skill set. Some have already got many dives. Some are even instructors already.
Yeah.
And usually they ask you for what they want, right? And you liaise with them before, and you talk on emails about what they expected to achieve and where you're looking to get them. What have you found out about their base levels and their existing qualifications, and then where you can get them and what they're happy with? Is there any thing you can draw from that?
Well, in the main, most people aren't at the level that they think they are, or at least they're not at the level where I feel they should be to begin the next stage in their training.
Okay.
And I guess what I mean by that is, coming back to these basics, is buoyancy, trim, position, and propulsion. And there are so many skills that exist in diving, whether that's mask, whether that's SMB, stage handling, what have you. And they're like kind of all the sexy skills. They're all the things that people want to be doing. And there's a bit of a rush to become a decompression diver or a cave diver, let's say, because it sounds kind of cool and that's what I want to be doing. But very often I'm seeing that there's a neglect. Maybe it's on the part of the diver, maybe it's part of the previous instruction. But generally, someone that's coming, if they're already an instructor, I believe they should already have good level of those fundamentals. If they're coming for, let's say, a high level technical course, and they've already passed through 3 or 4 level courses, well, they should already have that platform.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing most of the time are that people don't have an awareness necessarily of good positioning. I'm seeing that the precision buoyancy tends to be missed out on. While they have good buoyancy most of the time, it tends to break down when they're task loaded. They're not aware of their breathing. They're not aware of the impact of becoming task focused and having a narrowing in, I have to do this thing, and they forget about what everything else is around them. I would say I've had let's say, half a dozen people that were at the level that they should have been, maybe just under. Most of the people were, let's say, 1 level down from where I felt they would
where
be.
you'd want them.
And I've had a couple of people that I'm quite surprised at how they got to where they got to. Qualification-wise. And, I'm not saying that's for any particular reason, but what was always interesting to me was that the diver hadn't really known about it. They hadn't had a spotlight shone on it, and it hadn't been made aware to them. So that always tells me that the people that they're training with haven't had that same idea in their mind. That's not what they're looking to do.
Absolutely. And for me, that's a dilution process as well, because you've got to change that at some point. So if their instructors didn't get trained with video cameras and somebody looking at the fine details, then that's kind of being missed. And then every person there then training is kind of missing that as well. And then it really takes somebody to come and do what we're suggesting. And that's my next question to you actually, is if someone's watching this now, what would be the ideal thing you would tell them to do? At what level should they kind of stop, get in touch with us and maybe do, a side mount essentials, or at what point is it useful to them?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, you'd say it's useful to all divers, so we can't really sort of argue that point. But anyone that wants to embark on something that's a little bit outside the classic recreational fun style diving, if they want to do something that's a little bit more, let's call it, not dangerous, but there are some more risks involved in that. Whether that's because you can't go directly to the surface, whether that's because the positions that you have to hold are a little bit more intricate. So yeah, anyone looking to go to do some technical diving, some overhead diving, then it's really important that they have a strong foundation. And, because it's on paper, it sounds quite boring. Buoyancy, well, we heard about that in our entry-level training, and we probably think that's all there is to it. And, it's not, as you can see from the material that we're putting out. And So it's kind of overlooked a little bit. And, what I can't really stress enough is that, it is the foundation, of the platform that you're building, the house that you're building. And although it's boring and although it's a lot of work, if you don't have it, well, nothing else is really going to sit well on top of it.
Sure.
And, if you go and take a task and you end up spinning around and moving everywhere, and fine, you got the reg switch done, you got the stage cylinder off your body, yes, you did, but that's not in the way that it should be done.
Yeah.
And what I've seen people who have actually started their open water with that in mind. They've started taking it, as BTP style DIR training. That when they then come for training, with me to do advanced nitrox, stage handling, well, I don't need to teach this part. They can already do that skill.
Yeah.
They can focus on the job that they've come for. They haven't got to go anywhere else. Whereas when people are coming and they think they're ready and they're not, you actually can't teach what they've come for. You have to go back. And, you end up with a little bit of an issue where the onus is on you as the instructor to get that point across. Of course, you want to do that in a nice way. And I think the video feedback helps you a lot. You'd never have to say, oh, well, I saw you do this, and I saw, oh, no, you never saw that, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You've kind of got the proof of that. And I think if divers are open to, they've sought you out, they're paying for your time and your expertise. And if they're open to hearing what you have to say, and if you can deliver it in a way that is sensible for them, well, then great. You now made a new team, haven't you? You've now made a new plan, a new strategy that actually there are some problems. We will go off and fix them. And maybe we finish what you came out to do, or maybe that's going to roll over to next time. Because I think that, if you take, a fixed block of time, 4 days, 5 days, the quantity of work you can do is finite. You can't get 10 days worth of work done in 5.
Sure.
Yes, you can expand the days, but we've seen the problems with that. Students switch off, they're not retaining the information, and they're too tired and beaten up to perform.
Yeah.
So there is a limit to what you can get done. And I think that if people decide how they're going to invest, that's like 5 days, €5, let's say, how they're going to invest that, what's the best thing for them. And if they buy into it, that actually, yes, the best thing for them is to learn stability, is to learn precision buoyancy, and is to gain all of the things that once they have them, or when they come for the course now, it's going to be,
everything else becomes easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, we can easily test that because, if you take somebody who's already should be a decompression procedures diver or Tech 50, and you just simply ask them to make a descent with a team member, and give some hand signals and make an ascent, hold position at times, maybe send up an SMB.
Yes.
If they're struggling with any of that, that's really what we're talking about, isn't it? It's about stopping at that point, fixing why that's happening. Now, if they've been constantly used to having a heads up position when they do any kind of task, and then the more complex it becomes, the more they go heads up because they find it easier. Then this is something we now need to work out of them.
Yeah.
And I think we've not really run into problems because people generally know from reputation we're going to get the job done to the best we can. And the video feedback, like you said, it's clearly going to identify what they need to work on. And they can physically see themselves and they know what they want to look like.
I think, we mentioned it several times beforehand, but, if we talk about the signature training program, the Side Mount Essentials, it's not strictly only about side mount. You have this whole other component, and to be honest, because that applies to all divers, that is the single most important thing to do. Yes, side mount has configuration, it has skills, it has training, absolutely. But you wouldn't want to have your student leave knowing everything about harnesses and different history of side mount if they didn't actually have the essential foundation. And
that's right.
That for me still is the most interesting part of my job. That's the thing that probably turns me on the most, getting people that are deficient in that, because that's almost the hardest thing. If you get people that they've come, they're swimmers, and the way they frog kick, for example, in a breaststroke, is very different to how we want them frog kicking as a scuba diver. How the ankles are moving, how the knees are working.
Sure.
The knees are meant to drop, when you're swimming, for example. There isn't as much ankle rotation. So the amount of work required to do that, yes, it's a lot, but once that's done, the diver that leaves is just in such a better place.
Sure.
And you have the confidence now that when they go on, yeah, I mean, they're all the better for it.
Yeah, definitely.